Hi, this is Kendall Boyson, professional life and recovery coach, and you're listening to Encouragementology, the practice of instilling hope. Hi there. Thanks for joining me. On this show, we're talking about something most of us feel deeply but rarely pause long enough to examine: how we honor the gift of time. Have you ever caught yourself saying, wow, time is really flying by, yet found yourself spending whole stretches of your life on things that don't matter, don't fill you up, or don't reflect who you're becoming? It's that strange contradiction. We feel time slipping, yet we still give so much of it away to worry, distraction, obligation, or drama that never pays back. This episode was sparked by a conversation with a friend about entering a new season of life where time feels less like a resource and more like a gift, something to handle with care. I shared this year's motto with him: just because I can doesn't mean I want to or have to. To which he said, "You're preaching to the choir." Wow, I wasn't alone. We were both experiencing the same thing at the same time. There was a time when saying yes to everything felt like the responsible thing to do. It felt like proof that we were pulling our weight, showing up and making things happen. Now, many of us want to choose more intentionally, not slowing down necessarily, but selecting the people, projects, and commitments that bring meaning. And underneath all of that is the idea of stewardship, being entrusted with something precious and choosing to invest it wisely. If time is a gift, how do we honor it? How do we invest it in what truly matters instead of what simply demands attention? That's what we're exploring today. Not from a place of guilt or pressure, but from a place of awareness and gratitude. This episode, Honoring the Gift of Time, is about shifting from simply spending time to investing it and choosing what truly matters. Let's start by getting clear on what we mean when we talk about honoring the gift of time. Time isn't just minutes on a clock. It's presence. It's attention. It's energy. It's the currency that shapes the story of your life. Think of yes as an investment and no as protection. And every moment spent worrying about what you can't control is a moment taken from something that could have mattered. When we talk about investing in what truly matters, we're really talking about intentionality, knowing what fills you, what aligns with your values, and what supports the person you want to become. We're also talking about stewardship, treating time like a gift instead of a burden or inconvenience. Stewardship doesn't mean you're productive every second. It means you're aware of the value of your time and making choices that reflect that awareness. Be responsible. We often spend reactively, not intentionally. We respond instead of choosing. We accommodate instead of aligning. We get swept up in the needs, wants, and expectations of others, sometimes out of habit, sometimes out of fear, sometimes out of old patterns we've simply never questioned. But when we start to realize just how precious time is, when we acknowledge its value, everything shifts. We begin to ask new questions. Is this how I want to spend my time? Does this align with what truly matters to me? Is this an investment or an obligation? That's what honoring the gift of time is all about. Choosing your life instead of reacting to it. It's comforting to know that many thinkers, researchers, and writers have wrestled with this exact struggle. Time is universal. Everyone feels its pull. The writer Annie Dillard famously said, "How we spend our days is how we spend our lives." Simple sentence with a big impact. It calls us back to the truth that life isn't shaped in grand gestures, but in the everyday choices we make without thinking. A survey published in the Harvard Business Review found that almost half of people feel chronically rushed, even when their schedules aren't actually full. This tells us something important. Our relationship with time is as much about mindset as it is about minutes. If we're wired to run faster than our lives, we'll always feel behind. I love this quote about stewardship from a personal development teacher, Jim Rohn. It couldn't be more fitting for this episode. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you can't get more time. We've all heard this, yet living like it's true, honoring the gift, can be a very different story. There was a time when I used to say yes simply because I could. Now I'm trying to be more selective, thoughtful, intentional. I still have a full life, a gazillion projects, but they're all choices, not default settings. That's the very essence of investing your time rather than just letting it drain away. Let's pause for a quick thought experiment. Imagine your time as a portfolio. You're the manager. Each day you allocate your energy, your hours into different investments. Some pay dividends, some drain your account. Some feel natural, some evaporate. Now ask yourself, if I reviewed my time portfolio from last week, what investments actually grew my life? Was it time with people who fill you up? Rest that restored you? Creative work? Quiet moments? Real connection? Then ask the harder question. Which investments cost me more than they returned? Worry, overthinking, obligations you've outgrown, comparison, busyness without purpose. The good news? You can rebalance your portfolio anytime. No shame, no judgment, just awareness. Consider one more curiosity. What am I under-investing in? What really matters but barely gets any of your time? Your peace, your passions, your purpose, your relationships, your spiritual life. Honoring the gift of time starts with seeing your choices clearly. When it comes to honoring the gift of time and investing in what truly matters, you don't need a big life overhaul. You just need a few intentional shifts, some small changes that adjust the rhythm of your days. Let's break these down in a way that you can actually use. Are you ready? Number 1, add a values filter before each yes. Instead of automatically agreeing to something because you can, or because you always have, pause and ask, does this align with what I value most right now? That's the key. Not what you valued 5 years ago. Not what other people value. Not what you think you should value. What you value today. For example, if connection is one of your core values, then saying yes to a friend who wants to grab a coffee might be a great investment. If peace is a core value, then taking on a stressful volunteer role might not be the best allocation of your energy right now. A values filter protects you from overcommitting. It also helps you choose intentionally rather than reactively. You can even create a short list. I value peace. I value growth. I value meaningful relationships. I value creativity. Once you have your list, your yeses get easier, and so do your nos. Number 2, replace guilt with gratitude. This one is huge because guilt is one of the biggest time wasters out there. Guilt over disappointing someone, guilt over slowing down, guilt over needing rest, guilt over changing your mind. But guilt doesn't move you forward. It just drains your time and energy. Try shifting from guilt to gratitude. Thank you for thinking of me. And I need to decline. I'm grateful for this opportunity, but it doesn't fit right now. I appreciate being included, but I'm protecting my time this week. Gratitude softens the no without weakening the boundary. It reminds you that honoring your time is not the same as rejecting a person. Here's a gentle reframe. When you say no to something misaligned, you're actually saying yes to something meaningful. Number 3, protect one meaningful hour each week. Think of this as your non-negotiable investment period. Just 1 hour, 60 minutes. Carve it out for something that fills you instead of something that drains you. Like a quiet morning walk before the world wakes up. Reading a book that inspires you instead of scrolling on your phone. Working a hobby that brings you joy. Journaling through something you're wrestling with. Sitting in silence or prayer. Creating something like writing, drawing, planning, dreaming. Calling someone who fills your cup. 1 hour can change the tone of an entire week. If you're feeling guilty about taking that hour, let me remind you, you would never run a marathon without taking water breaks. Your week is a marathon. This hour is one of your water breaks. Number 4, identify your top 3 investments for this season. This may be the most clarifying step of all. Seasons shift, circumstances change, and what matters most right now might not be what mattered a year ago. Take a moment to identify your top 3 investments, the things that deserve your time and attention this season. Your list might look like my health, mental, physical, emotional. Maybe strengthening my closest relationships or deepening my spiritual life. Or maybe building something new, repairing something fractured, or resting something exhausted. When you know your top 3, your priorities settle into place. You stop scattering your energy across 20 competing directions. You stop feeling guilty for not being everything to everyone. You stop chasing things that don't matter. Instead, every choice starts to sound like this. Does this support one of my top 3 investments? Is this helping me grow? Is this honoring the gift of time I've been given? When your values and your time finally match, life feels clearer, lighter, and more aligned. Number 5, give yourself permission to change your mind. This is an optional bonus, but an important one. Sometimes we commit to something with good intentions and later realize it no longer fits the season we're in. Instead of forcing it, honor the shift. you are allowed to pivot. You're allowed to grow past old commitments. You're allowed to choose differently than you did before. Changing your mind isn't inconsistency, it's stewardship. Number 6, make peace with doing less so you can live more. We often equate busyness with value, but sometimes the most spiritually mature thing you can do is slow down. Doing less isn't laziness. It isn't selfishness. It is often clarity. When you create margin, you create space for things that truly matter. Presence, connection, purpose, joy, creativity, and rest. Margin isn't empty time. Margin is where your soul finally exhales. When we think about time, most of us already know the A side of the record. It's the one we've heard for years. Time is short. Don't waste it. Use it wisely. Make every moment count. It's definitely motivational, but it can also feel heavy, like a pressure cooker that tells us every choice better be perfect, every day better be productive, every hour better be meaningful. But the B side? That's where the deeper, softer, more realistic truth lives. The part that doesn't get radio play, but absolutely deserves to. The B side says, you don't have to earn your time. Your time is already a gift, and your job isn't to maximize it, it's to honor it. See? This shift changes everything. On the A side, time is something you must manage, control, optimize, and protect. There's tension built into it, a sense that you might mess this up and fall behind or somehow not do enough. But the B side offers a different perspective. Time isn't asking you to manage it perfectly. It's asking you to be present with it, to recognize it, to savor it, to treat it like something sacred instead of something scarce. The A side drives us. The B side invites us. On the A side, we hustle. We pack our calendars. We measure our worth by productivity. We convince ourselves that if we just keep moving, we'll eventually feel fulfilled. On the B side, we breathe. We pay attention to what matters. We understand that rest is not wasteful, it's wise. We choose alignment over activity. The B side gives you permission to slow your pace, to match your life, not the other way around. So the A side, don't waste time. The B side, don't miss time. Those are not the same thing. You can stay busy all day and still miss your life. You can be productive and still feel empty. You can achieve every goal on your list and still feel like something is missing. But when you honor time, when you invest in moments that actually matter, you stop missing your own life. You stop rushing past it and stop trading presence for performance. The B side asks, am I actually here for my life, or am I just moving through it? It's a question worth asking. There is a beautiful truth many of us forget. You don't need more time to feel fulfilled. You need to treat the time you already have with intention. Honoring time isn't about squeezing more into your day. It's about noticing what's already there. The morning light, the conversation that made you laugh, the quiet moment when something finally clicked, the peace that comes from choosing rest over rushing. Those are investments, not accidents. There's an old story about a traveler who carried a small bag of seeds. Everywhere he went, he would plant a few, never knowing which ones would take root. Some grew into beautiful groves. Some provided shade. Some offered fruit. Some didn't grow at all. Years later, he walked that same path. He discovered that many of the groves had become gathering places. People met there. Families rested there. Travelers stopped to breathe and enjoy the shade. The traveler smiled, not because he controlled the outcome, but because he honored the seeds, the little moments, and invested them well. The moral? You don't control everything. You don't get to choose which seeds grow, but you can choose which seeds you plant, how you invest your time, your energy, your presence. And in time, those choices create the landscape of your life. Ready to slow down for a little reflection? You can put pen to paper or just close your eyes and spend some time in wonder. Remember, you can dive deeper and go at your own pace with the 5-day journaling companion in the show notes. One, how am I currently honoring the gift of time? What moments this week felt meaningful or energizing? Who brought out the best in me? What activities left me more peaceful or aligned? 2, where am I spending time out of habit instead of intention? What feels draining or obligatory? Where am I overcommitting or overthinking? What would it feel like to let one of those go? 3, what do I want to invest in more deeply? Which relationships, passions, or values need more of my time? What small change would support that shift? What would my days look like if my time and values matched? Let's take a moment and reflect on what we've uncovered together, because this topic isn't just about time management or checking off a to-do list. It's about presence and purpose. It's about honoring the life you've been given by choosing how you live it. First and foremost, time is not just something we use, it's something we receive. When we shift from seeing time as a commodity to seeing it as a gift, we move out of a survival mode and into stewardship. That change in perspective can soften the way we talk to ourselves, the way we plan our days, and the way we show up for others. Second, just because you can doesn't mean you have to. That one sentence is incredibly liberating. It's okay to be selective. It's okay to not do it all. It's okay to grow past old obligations and outgrown expectations. In fact, it's healthy. That selectivity isn't selfish. It's wise. It's stewardship. Third, how we spend our time reveals what we value and also what we tolerate. When you look at your calendar, your habits, and your default responses, you get a mirror reflecting what's most important and what might need to change. But change doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to flip your life upside down. You just need to begin choosing with awareness. Fourth, productivity is not the goal. Alignment is. We often over-prioritize being busy as if filling every moment validates our worth. But the truth is, a full calendar isn't always a fulfilling life. A slower pace isn't laziness, it's clarity. Creating margin isn't wasteful, it's wisdom. You don't need to do more to matter more. Let me repeat that. You don't need to do more to matter more. You just need to do what matters most and give it your full presence. Fifth, rest is not a reward. It's a requirement. Too often we treat rest like something we earn after the work is done. But rest is part of the rhythm of being human. Even time needs breathing room. And when you treat your time like a gift, you naturally begin to protect the parts of it that restore you, not just the parts that produce. And finally, the most powerful thing you can do is pause. A simple pause before the yes. A pause before reacting. A pause before falling into an old pattern. That one moment of stillness gives you the opportunity to respond with intention instead of impulse. That's where honoring the gift of time really begins, in that moment. When you ask, is this what truly matters? And maybe as you're listening right now, you feel a shift. Not pressure to overhaul your life, but maybe permission to live it differently. To walk with your time instead of racing against it. To protect it like something valuable, not spend it like loose change. Because when you treat your time like a gift, it becomes one. To you and to everyone you share it with. If you want to share encouragementology with a friend who needs to know they're not alone in this journey of self-discovery, you can visit encouragementology.com or anywhere you stream your content to receive this episode and all others. Check out the show notes for the 5-day journaling companion and follow us on Facebook and Instagram for additional encouragement throughout the week. So I challenge you, honor the gift of time by choosing what aligns with your values and letting go of what doesn't. Invest wisely, protect what matters, and receive each moment with gratitude. I know you can do it. Thank you for listening to Encouragementology with Kendall Boyson, where we find positive ways to handle some of life's challenges.
I stumbled through until the path was clear. That's when I found you and how I wound up here. All I needed was a rock that I could lean on. All you needed was some wind beneath your wings. We might be seeing things from different points of view, but that don't mean a thing. You and I, we were meant to be. I was made for you, you were made for me. So let it happen naturally. Things will work out fine, just you wait and see. Oh, you sat across my lap one summer night. There was only one star out, but it was shining bright. So I held you in my arms with all my might. It felt good to be in love again. I didn't want that night to end, but all I needed